Hello and welcome to News9 Facebook Live with me, Adarsh Vepachedu. There are so many facets to coronavirus we already know about, but there is so much we are yet to uncover. While researchers across the world are trying to understand how the coronavirus affects the body, what organs it impacts, how long it can survive in the air and on surfaces, it is these very factors that play such an important role when it comes to how far and wide the virus can spread. Apart from social distancing and universal masking, hand wash is one thing that has been recommended to keep the virus at bay. Washing hands at least 6 times a day for at least 20 seconds each time and using an alcohol-based hand rub in case a sink is not accessible has been recommended since the beginning of the outbreak. But in the latest, a new research has re-emphasized the importance of hand washing. This research has thrown light on the amount of time the coronavirus can survive on the skin, something we did not have a concrete answer for. Now, according to researchers in Japan, coronavirus can survive on human skin for approximately 9 hours. Now, to give it some context, the researchers have said that the flu virus only lasts for about 1.8 hours on the human skin. To tell us more about what this research means for us, we have infectious diseases expert Dr. Trupti Gilada joining us on the phone line. Many thanks for speaking to us, Doctor. Wouldn't the 9-hour survival of coronavirus on human skin increase the risk of contact transmission more in comparison with the flu? And this in turn could further the pandemic. Your thoughts on that?
So just the research being available doesn't mean that something has changed in the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
We know that this disease was very different from the flu virus. It's an extremely contagious virus, and one of the properties of this virus that it survives on surfaces and on hand for longer hours is one of the reasons. What this changes, what is important to understand is that since this virus will be surviving on the hand for 9 hours or so, there are two things. One, if you are an asymptomatic carrier, or even if you have mild symptoms and you happen to cough in your hands and don't wash your hands immediately, you will be transferring this virus to all the surfaces that you touch thereafter. And for someone who's not infected, they pick this virus up from these surfaces and don't wash their hands before touching their face for any reason, they will be picking this virus and transmitting it from the surfaces to themselves. So that is how the chain of transmission will continue if people don't practice good hand hygiene.
And eventually, the longer it stays on the skin, the more possibilities of it really transmitting from one person to another. The 9-hour aspect now coming into the picture, is it surprising? Because it was about 7 to 8 hours is what we were apprised of up until now. So 9 hours, what do you have to say about that? Too much, too little?
I mean, an hour, 2 or 3, 4 hours here or there is never surprising. These are all studies, and these studies can have variable findings. But what is important to understand from all this is that, just because it survives 8 hours and therefore you should wash your hands 6 times a day, more than that, what's important is that you wash your hands every time you have touched a high-touch surface, which could be doorknobs. If you're in office, you've just had lunch and touched the table. That is where you should definitely go and wash your hands. And second thing is to give up the habit of touching the face with unwashed hands.
Correct.
Because if you have the virus surviving in your hands, but if you don't touch your face, you will never transfer it to yourself. So, yes, you have to wash your hands extremely often and several times, but also not touching your face with unwashed hands is equally important.
Right. Now, Doctor, we know that the virus can survive for 4 hours on, say, copper, about 2 hours on cardboard, and roughly 2 to 3 days on plastic and stainless steel. We're also beginning to realize that the coronavirus could be airborne. Add to that the 9-hour life of coronavirus on the human skin. Please tell us how best we can really take care of ourselves. Some tips for the viewers, please.
So the most important preventive strategy for coronavirus remains masking. The studies from WHO and CDC have shown that fomites is picking up viruses from surfaces, is an important mode of transmission, but still remains a lesser common mode of transmission compared to coughing and sneezing. So masking is the most important thing. Second most important thing, like you said, is washing hands as frequently as possible with soap and water or with alcohol if that's not available, and not touching your face with unwashed hands. And third important thing is going to remain physical distancing, because physical distancing takes away, lack of physical distancing takes away this entire surface from the equation, because then when this person coughs, then it doesn't even have to land on the surface or on the hands. It directly lands on your face.
Correct.
So if each of these three things is followed throughout this pandemic, I think the number of cases that we are seeing will definitely start decreasing.
Oh, yes, indeed. Many thanks, Dr. Trupti, for joining us and for sharing your insights on this new research that has come in. There seem to have been a clear-cut duration that the Kyoto University in Japan has spoken about. They are saying that it can survive, the coronavirus can survive on human skin up to 9 hours. It seems as if we did not have a concrete answer up until now as to how many hours exactly will it survive, but you have a lot of tests that the researchers have taken up using dead bodies. They have exposed dead bodies to the coronavirus, and they have realized that it survives on the human skin for about 9 hours, only re-emphasizing the point that hand washing, hand hygiene is one of the most important factors as we go forward, along with universal masking and social distancing, as you just heard from the expert. So if you've liked the information that we've shared with you, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to News 9 on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Many thanks.